Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel, and we have seen day 3 come and go, and the NFL draft for 2023 is officially over. The Dallas Cowboys have rounded out their draft board. We now know who are Cowboys, and they're also building up that undrafted free agent list. We're going to see who joins the Cowboys as that, and we're going to do a full draft grade once we see what they did in that process. But strictly day 3 talk here today. And so I want to set the table with guidelines to expect in this video really quickly. The first thing is I'm going to be just grading the day as a whole. Day 3 is something where you go after the injury stashes. You trade the picks for starters. It's not a big day to really get guys that you think are going to start. It's really you hope and pray that these guys work out. We've had some successes in these rounds, 110%, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say that none of these picks matter. They're all bums. Don't pay attention to them. We're going to go over some pros and cons with notes that have been given to me from colleagues, friends, you name it, because some names I'm like, who the hell is this? And other names I'm like, oh, that's great. We took this guy. And so we're going to go through that in today's video, and hopefully we'll round out what they did during the draft process with a letter grade. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. So the first pick that the Cowboys had was Viliami Fehoko Jr. Now, I could be butchering his name, and if I am, I'm sorry. Not really good with the names that have all the different characters in them. So with that being said, I look at a guy that is going to help in run defense. He has this tweener ability between being an edge rusher as well as a defensive tackle, and to be more specific with edge, more so defensive end. And I think that I don't see this guy being a starter. I see this guy being a rotational piece behind Sam Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence that will step in and be a guy that can set the edge and prevent runs from happening there. And that's really what killed the Cowboys in 2022 was the run defense, right? They were not good. And this draft has continually showed that they are trying to build up that run defense. And I think that that's where I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, okay, this is the vision the Cowboys have for this draft. They want to build up that run defense, and they think they have what they got on offense, and they're cool with it. Now, me personally, I would have liked for a little bit more offense. You know, I'm more of a fan of that, but I understand that if we've tried to build through the offense to win things, why don't we try it with the defense and see if it works out? And the defense continues to get better. So Fehoko, I believe, was a solid pick for the Cowboys. And again, I'm not expecting much out of the pick other than you're hoping the guy ends up being a productive player for you and more. And I think that he'll do just that. He'll be someone that fits what the Cowboys are trying to do. He has nice intangibles. And at the end of the day, I'm excited to see what he can do in Dallas, because giving you that tweener ability helps with the guys on the interior as well to take a break. Or if you want to just roll them out on the edge, then you got someone behind those other guys that I mentioned. Next, you have Asim Richards, the offensive tackle out of North Carolina in the 5th round, and this is a pick that can really turn into something depending on how the Cowboys view him as either a tackle or a guard. Based off of what's been told to me and also with what's been put on film and explained to me, he really looks like a guy that's going to translate to guard at the NFL level at a better pace than him being at tackle. And also, if the Cowboys' plan is to have him eventually become a starter, I think his best bet would be to play guard, beef up there, and just boogie from there. However, I think that he is a Connor McGovern-like player in the sense of when he initially came in, you know, could he start? Yeah, like he can start for you, but he's not going to be at that level initially. So I think that if the Cowboys take some time with him, you could see this guy develop into something. And as I mentioned in previous videos, you want to get value out of offensive linemen in the later rounds. The better you do that, the better your team's going to be, and not having to put better draft capital towards that, even though I'm okay with it. So I like the pick up there. I think that, again, I'm not looking for this dude to end up being an all-pro guy. If he is, awesome, but he's just going to be probably, at best, if he hits a ceiling, a solid starter for you and nothing more than that. But again, he has to reach that, and it might take a year or two for him to reach that, but that's just where we're at there. So next, we move on to the 6th round, and the Dallas Cowboys had 2 selections this go-around. And why is that? They traded a 2024 5th-round pick to acquire the first pick in the 6th round, and then they also had pick 35. which is a more notable pick because we all know the story behind that. But starting off, they took Eric Scott Jr., the cornerback out of Southern Mississippi. So he was a head scratcher for many because they looked at some of the physical attribute tests that they do, and he ran a 4.71, and apparently he pulled his hamstring or something of that nature. I don't know exactly what happened, but according to others, he ran a 4.42, which if you put that number in, it's a lot better on the metrics, which I really don't give a shit about that at the end of the day with the colors and stuff like that. From what's been told, this dude is going to most likely be a special teams guy and maybe a rotation in the cornerback room. You take a shot on him and you see what he can do. I'm not going to put too much into it. You kind of hope, okay, can he be like a DaRon Bland and turns into something or not? I don't know. DaRon Bland was the same thing. People were like, who the hell is this guy? And hopefully it's the same results. But Eric Scott, welcome to the team. I'm not going to go too much further on that because I don't want to give you guys anything else other than, okay, based off of the notes here, he was an all-round solid cornerback, nothing too crazy other than, having issues with, biting on certain pump fakes and stuff like that, as well as depending on the scheme that he's in, he could suffer there. But that was all that was told to me, and I don't want to put you guys in a situation like I'm telling you, oh, this is 110%, this is the law, this is exactly what he is. I'm not going to do that. He was a name that surprised many. Now we get to the most exciting pick of the 6th round and really of day 3. Deuce Vaughn, the running back out of Kansas State. My short king has arrived in Dallas. He's around my height when I put shoes on. So I'm excited to see the short king in Dallas, and I hope he does so goddamn well. I think he's going to be a solid running back, too, behind Tony Pollard. If they elect to move on from Tony Pollard, I think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be a running back 1. I think that the frame screams running back 2, and he's going to be a dynamic pass catcher, maybe put on special teams here and there. I love what this guy can do. Absolutely. And, his father is a scout, and I was so excited to see that happened where he was able to make the call to his son that he was going to be a Dallas Cowboy, and I'm really happy to have him on here. He has speed. You have Pollard. You have Vaughn. You have these speedy guys that can help change the pace, and as a spoiler, you did get Hunter Lipke as of this recording, so oh my god, that room is so much better as it is, and we might bring Zoom. No, we're good. We got who we got. Awesome. Cool. We don't need any more. But I really like this pick. People will look at the height and be like the height really threw a lot of the metrics off. Really productive player. Go watch his highlights at Kansas State. You will be impressed. And then finally, the last pick in this draft, it was Jalen Brooks, the wide receiver out of Southern Carolina, or South Carolina more specifically. It doesn't really give a damn. Finally, we had the pick from South Carolina for our 7th round selection, and that was Jalen Brooks, that wide receiver. And, he was a name that people were like, who the hell's this? But he has shown some interesting flashes, but I don't expect much from him. He has some nice flashes on, the highlights, but that's all I really get from him. I got to go through the list of notes here as I was editing. And, you have a guy that has a lot of athleticism to it. He has nice hand skills. One of the things is just, he wasn't really productive at South Carolina, and I think that really impacted his stock. So we'll see it there, but I'm not putting much value on the dude becoming a starter. I think that he can be a wide receiver 4 or 5 if things turn out well. Again, I hope that all these dudes pan out and become badasses, but just keeping it funky with you, I think that the Cowboys did solid on day 3. Nothing too noteworthy aside from the Deuce Vaughn pick. So if I had to give a grade for day 3, it's a C+, honestly. I don't, it's okay. You did your due diligence. So to grade the whole first, second, third, everything else, I'm going to give this draft a B-. I think that the Dallas Cowboys did what they had to do. They went out and addressed that running, defense that has plagued the Cowboys for years, for God's sake. So I'm glad they're taking it seriously. And also, they're adding pieces around Micah Parsons to make it so much easier for him to pass rush. That is important too. So I'm really glad that the Cowboys did that. They added some pieces on offense. I would have liked a little bit more, but you get Luke Schoonmaker. Excuse me, I've been mispronouncing him, his name. And I'm glad now we have chance that can come out of this with Luke or Schoon or Deuce. Holy shit, we actually have guys that you can go off of that, because I think it's going to bring some life into the stadium. I know it's a side thing. But yeah, the Cowboys, B minus all around. They did their part. They added some pieces on the offense, but they pretty much have a high grade on all the other guys outside of it to be like, we don't need that much. And I think the trades really, again, I didn't say they needed to do much on offense besides getting a guard. And I thought they were good there. So that is where we're going to sit there, guys. We're going to grade it as a B minus for what they did during the draft process. I felt like if they did not take Deuce Vaughn, I would probably give it a C plus. But that's where we stand there. We'll see how it pans out. Again, it's not the sexiest draft, but you did your part to make the team better. So there's that. But with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll be doing a full recap of the undrafted free agents once they all sign. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one.